Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today's tutorial is going to be on a ear warmer slash headband. Now, this can be made in multiple sizes. Your cast on amount will be in multiples of 2. And here we are. We have a 2x2 ribbing. We have some pattern work and then a 2x2 ribbing to finish it off. The width of it, or height, as you're working, can range anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 inches. That's up to you. Your cast on total, as I said, is in multiples of 2. So my general rule of thumb is when I make a hat for myself, I do it with 80 stitches, or they're really close to 80 stitches, depending on the pattern that I'm going to work. So for a headband or ear warmer, I'm going to cast on that same amount within reason, depending on the pattern. So for this particular pattern, it being done in sets of 2, multiples of 2 stitches, I'm going to cast on my standard hat size on 5mm circular needles. This can be done on DP ends. It can be done on magic loop. You can do it on regular circular needles for a hat that you normally would use. That's entirely up to you. The amount of stitches is not going to change. It's just going to be how the hat is worked over whichever form of working your hat you choose. So I will be using some circulars that I use to make hats. This one is just a clover, and it's a US 8, which is a 5mm, and they're just the bamboo. So you can do however you normally would work up a hat. The only difference is we're not going to be working all the way up to the very top of a hat. We're going to be casting off and creating a headband. So you will need some circular needles and some worsted weight yarn. I just grabbed a scrap cake of yarn that I have here. I just grabbed from my bin. I can tell you that I worked this one up. It's 4 inches in height, and I used bigger circular needle. I used a 6.5 for this. It was 132 yards original skein, and there's more than half of it left. So it doesn't take much to make this. You'll need a darning needle, a pair of scissors, and a stitch marker. So for this particular headband, as I said, I'm going to cast on 80 stitches. I'm going to cast on long tail cast on. You can cast on however you desire, whatever way suits you. And when I cast on, I will be casting on 81 stitches. And if you haven't followed me when I'm working in the round, how I connect in the round, that's why I cast on the 81st stitch, is to connect in the round. Now, I will show you how I do that once I have cast on my 81 stitches. If you would like to follow along and join in the round like I do, you can follow my instructions on how to join in the round. If you prefer to just join as you always do, cast on your multiples of 2 for a hat, and we will work through this together. I'm going to go ahead and cast on my 81 stitches, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have my 81 stitches. The next thing you're going to want to do is make sure that all of your stitches are correctly aligned around your DPNs, circulars, however you are doing this. And how I connect in the round. I take the first stitch from my left needle, and I slip it over to my right needle. Then I pick up that 81st stitch and pass it over that stitch. And then I slip that stitch back over to the right needle, just like that. Now I will turn my work over, tighten up my tails, place my working yarn behind the needles now, so it's all in the right spot. Transfer my stitch marker over, and now I can begin to work. I am connected in the round at this point. So that's how I connect in the round for those of you that are just joining in on your first working in the round with me. All right, so the pattern repeat for your ribbing of this, so the bottom and the top will be the same. You're going to work 4 rounds of 2x2 ribbing, which is knit 2, so knit 1, knit 2, purl 2, so purl 1 and purl 2, and you're going to repeat that all the way around for 4 rounds. So there's 1 and 2. Now purl 2, 1 and 2. So we're going to continue knit 2, purl 2 all the way around for 4 rounds. Once you have completed your 4 rounds, we will come back and start the center part, the pattern part of the headband. I'll be back when I've completed my 4 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. Okay, so once you have completed your 4 rounds of 2x2 ribbing, we're going to begin our 2-row repeat or 2-round repeat. Now, the idea of these rounds, the first round, you double the amount of stitches, and the second round, you decrease back to the original amount of stitches. So, with that being said, for round 1 of your 2-round repeat, we are going to knit front and knit back every stitch. Now, if you've never knitted front and back, I will zoom in and show you how it's done. So to knit front and back, you're going to knit as per usual. But instead of sliding that stitch off, we're going to slip our needle behind this front part that you already knitted and out the back side. So now we have the back leg of that stitch on our right needle. And we're going to knit that leg. So we're knitting both the front leg, knit front, and then reaching through in between those legs of that stitch, picking up the back leg and knitting it. Knit front, knit back. So knit front and knit back. And you're going to continue that all the way around. So again, irregardless of how many stitches you cast on, we are now going to double that amount for the first repeating round. I'll be back once I have completed this round, and I will show you how we are going to decrease. Okay, so now you have increased all the way around every single stitch. You now have double the amount of stitches. Now we're going to decrease back down to the original amount of stitches for the second repeating round. And how we're going to do that is we start with purl 2 together. So picking up the first 2 stitches and purling them, and then knit 2 together. So knit the next 2 stitches together. And that is your repeat all the way around for your second round repeat. Purl 2, knit 2 together. So purl 2 together, knit 2 together, purl 2 together, knit 2 together, and you're going to continue those 2 rounds for approximately 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches is what I would suggest. It's up to you on how wide you want your ear warmer or headband. Keep in mind that you're going to repeat those 4 2x2 ribbing rows once you have the pattern part to your desired height. You want to repeat your ribbing on the other side. So for me, my ribbing is about 1 inch in height. The pattern section is about 2 inches in height, and then I completed it with another inch of ribbing. So this in total height is 4 inches. Again, if you wanted to make it 6 inches wide, you can adjust that however you see fit. You just repeat the 2 repeating rows or rounds until it's to the height that you want, minus 1 inch or whatever yours measures out to be. It could be a little different than mine, depending on the tightness of your stitch. Or if you're using bigger needles, it's personal preference, basically. And all we're looking for is a ribbing on the bottom and the top to match in size. So how many ever rounds you did to start with, you're going to do to finish it. Hopefully that all makes sense. But that is all there is to this. Now, when I get to the end and I am casting off, I will cast off in pattern. Now, what I mean by that is I knit the knits and purl the purls. So as I'm casting off the stitch, if it's a knitted stitch, I knit the stitch, then I cast it off. If it's a purl stitch, I purl the stitch, and then I cast it off. That's all I mean by casting off in pattern. You just, whatever the stitch is, that's how you work the stitch before you cast it off. So that is all there is to this headband. I'm going to continue to work on the red one, take a couple of pictures, and that way you can see what it looks like with the 5mm and worsted weight, standard worsted weight, versus a 6.5 and a light worsted weight, as far as sizing, overall sizing of it. I'm going to do the same amount of repeats that I did for this purple one on the red one, and the same thing with my cast off and my ribbing. So everything will be exactly the same amount. Just the only difference is the size of the needle and the size of the worsted weight, light versus standard. So all right, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions about continuing on and the ribbing or casting off, please feel free to comment down below, ask those questions. If you make this headband or ear warmer, I would love to see your version of it over in the Facebook group. You can share a picture, or you're welcome to email me a picture, as well as tag me on Instagram. All of that information will be linked down below, as well as all of the other links where you can find me or help support the channel. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.